It's funny how a single touch can burn deeper than a flame, and a single look can feel like betrayal. That was what I thought the first time Daniel glanced at me, not as his friend, not as his colleague, but as someone slipping away. We had worked together for nearly 3 years at a bustling advertising agency in downtown New York. Long nights buried in campaign drafts, shared takeout dinners under fluorescent lights, and laughter echoing through empty office halls had stitched us together in a way that felt more intimate than friendship, yet remained trapped in its shadow. For me, it was love, quiet and unspoken, stretching like an invisible thread between us. For Daniel, I thought it was comfort, familiarity nevermore. I had kept my feelings hidden, convinced that silence was safer. But silence has a way of suffocating, and mine was beginning to strangle me. Daniel was the golden boy of the office. Tall, sharp-dressed, charismatic. He had a way of walking into a meeting and immediately commanding attention, as if the room tilted toward him. Clients adored him, bosses relied on him, and I loved him. Loved the way his tie would loosen by midnight when we were drowning in presentations. Loved the way his laugh softened, quieter and genuine, when it was just the two of us. Loved how he remembered that I took my coffee black, but always added 1 sugar on stressful mornings because you deserve something sweet. It was unbearable sometimes, being that close yet untouchable. My heart was a secret I carried like a stone in my chest, and I told myself I could live with it as long as he stayed by my side. But then came the night at O'Malley's, the Irish pub around the corner from our office. We were celebrating the launch of a huge campaign, the kind of night where everyone was drunk enough to laugh too loud and spill secrets they'd regret in the morning. I was nursing a beer when Daniel leaned across the table, his tie hanging loose, his blue eyes lit with mischief. "You're my favorite person here, you know that?" he said. The words hit me like a bullet. My stomach flipped, my pulse roared in my ears. But then he smirked and added, "Don't tell the others, they'd get jealous." Everyone laughed. I laughed too, though it sounded broken even to me. He didn't mean it the way I wanted. He never did. That night, I walked home alone under the glow of street lamps, my chest heavy with the cruel irony of loving someone who would never love me back. 2 weeks later, everything shifted. I met Alex at a friend's art gallery opening. He was warm, quick to smile, and he listened in a way that made me feel seen. We exchanged numbers, and soon coffee turned into dinners into walks through Central Park, and walks into late-night conversations where I didn't have to swallow my feelings. With Alex, I didn't have to hide. He held my hand in public without hesitation, laughed at my dry humor, and looked at me like I mattered. For the first time in years, I felt the possibility of being loved back. Daniel noticed. It started with the little things. He'd linger by my desk longer than usual. He'd frown when Alex texted me during lunch. His jokes carried an edge sharper than before. Then came the night he saw us. I was leaving the office late, Alex waiting outside with 2 cups of coffee. The air was crisp, the city alive with honking taxis and neon lights. When Alex reached for my hand, I let him take it. Felt natural, comforting. And that was the moment Daniel walked out of the building. Our eyes locked. His froze on our intertwined hands, his jaw tightening, his steps faltering. For the first time, Daniel looked at me not as a friend, not as a colleague, but as someone who belonged to someone else. The silence between us stretched like a wound. Then he looked away, his face a storm I couldn't read, and walked past without a word. That night, I lay awake replaying the look in his eyes. It wasn't just surprise. It was hurt, maybe even jealousy. But why? He'd never given me any reason to believe he felt the same. Days passed, tense and brittle. Daniel grew distant at work, his easy smile gone. Our conversations became clipped, formal. Felt like grieving something I never had. Until the night he showed up at my apartment. It was raining, heavy and relentless. When I opened the door to find Daniel standing there, drenched and shaking. His hair plastered to his forehead, his eyes wild. "Ethan," he said, his voice breaking. "Tell me it's not serious with him." I froze, my breath caught in my throat. "What are you doing here?" "I can't," his voice cracked, raw with desperation. "I can't watch you with him. I can't pretend anymore." Anger flared in me, sharp and bitter. "Pretend what, Daniel? You had years. Years to say something. And now that I've finally found someone who wants me, you show up like this. His hands trembled as he reached for me but stopped short, hovering like he was afraid to touch. Because I was scared. I didn't want to ruin us. I thought if I kept it inside, I'd keep you. But then I saw him holding your hand and God. Ethan. It felt like I was losing the most important person in my life. My chest tightened. Every word was a knife and a bomb. You don't get to do this, I whispered. You don't get to break me all this time and then show up when it's convenient. The rain pounded against the windows, a backdrop to the silence that followed. His eyes were wet, but not just from the rain. I love you, he said finally, the words trembling out of him. I've loved you for so long I don't even remember when it started. I was a coward. But if there's even the smallest chance, I don't want to waste it. The world seemed to stop. My heart thrashed, torn between the safety of Alex and the aching, desperate love I'd carried for Daniel all these years. I should have walked away. Maybe I even tried to. But then Daniel stepped closer, his hand finally closing over mine, warm and shaking. His eyes searched mine, vulnerable in a way I'd never seen. And for the first time, I saw not just the golden boy, the colleague, the friend, but the man who had been silently breaking alongside me. I let out a shaky breath, my resistance crumbling. You're an idiot, I whispered. He laughed through the tears, pulling me into his arms. Yeah, you're idiot. It wasn't easy. Things with Alex ended gently but painfully, and there were nights when doubt still haunted me. But Daniel stayed. He showed up, not just with grand gestures but in the quiet ways, bringing me coffee on rough mornings, holding my hand under the table during stressful meetings, listening when the world felt heavy. Love wasn't sudden fireworks. It was a slow burn, years in the making, finally given air to breathe. And as we walked home one evening, his fingers laced with mine under the glow of the New York skyline, I realized the truth. Sometimes, love arrives too late. But if you're lucky, it stays forever. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.